Hello, CIBOLOCREEK Community Church. I hope this update finds everybody healthy and safe and in good spirits. So the buzz on the street is that churches have been granted the permission to start hosting services on their campuses again, and this is really exciting news. I mean, we're really fired up at the prospect of all of us being able to get together as a church family again. And trust me, there's nobody more excited about it than I am. Over the last several weeks, I have found that speaking to an empty auditorium is not my idea of a good time. I really miss you guys. I miss seeing your smiling faces. I miss sharing the worship experience together with you. I miss the conversations that we had before and after services. I miss the handshakes and the high fives. I really miss the hugs. I really miss all of us being together as a church family, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So earlier this week, the governor of the state of Texas made an announcement about the plan to open the state of Texas, get people back to work, open businesses like restaurants and theaters and other places of entertainment that we all enjoy. And on the list was the opportunity for churches to start hosting services on their campus. And so we're really, really excited about that. But I just want to remind you once again that this has never been about whether we can host services on our campus or not. This has always been about what's the wisest and best thing to do for the health and safety of our congregation and our community. And so I just want us to understand that the urgency to get back together again should never eclipse the higher priority of doing what's wisest and best for the safety of our congregation. So what you're hearing in the news is that churches can host services again. What you're not hearing in the news, not because anyone's trying to hide it, but because it's not particularly newsworthy, is that there are several guidelines, directives, very specific directions about how churches are to host services on their campuses again. And the two big ones are social distancing and cleaning. So as it relates to social distancing, all the rules are still in effect. It's required that if a person is to enter a facility for worship, they have to wash their hands with hand sanitizer, and they have to don a mask before entering the facility. Then once inside the facility, they have to honor the rule of 6 feet of distance between them and everybody else. So that presents some challenges. For restaurants, the guidelines in this first phase have been given that they would open only to about 25% of their capacity. So then how that translates for us as a church, if we were to use that same guideline in the interest of social distancing, in an auditorium that seats 400 people, we would only be able to accommodate 100 people. Well, that presents some real challenges. Like, how in the world are we going to decide who gets to be among the 100 people who are allowed into a service? And the second thing is just try to imagine a children's ministry with social distancing rules in effect. How in the world do you get preschoolers and second graders to understand that they can't be within 6 feet of each other? That would prove to be very, very challenging for our faithful volunteers who serve in support of our families and provide for our children during our services. The second thing that's a big challenge has to do with cleaning. It's required that an extensive cleaning process take place between each use of the facility. So that would demand that we'd have to do an extensive cleaning process between each of our services. That means every seat that's been sat in has to be cleaned. Every doorknob has to be cleaned, every bathroom stall, every bathroom sink, every drinking fountain, every computer that's been used to register children in our Kids Creek ministry, every pen that's been picked up, every coffee station would have to be cleaned thoroughly before we could host our second service. And that right there is a challenge in of itself, certainly for a church our size and with our capacity. So with these kinds of things in mind, we are trying to make the wisest and best decision for the good of everybody involved. And so in a spirit of patience and in a spirit of discernment, we have decided that we're going to continue to offer our services online for the time being. We're going to continue to watch and see how this initial opening of churches affects the situation in relationship to the coronavirus. Will infections go up? Will they stay steady? Will they go down? Um, Rather than opening and then having to close again, we decided that we just want to take a more sustainable position on this and watch to see what happens. Um, One of the things we have to appreciate about COVID-19 is that it's listed as a novel virus. That means we've never dealt with it before. We don't know exactly what it is that we're dealing with. And there's lots of questions and lots of uncertainties about how to deal with it. At best, every response to this virus is an educated guess. And the truth is that some people are more educated than others about how to discern what's going to happen in response to the situation. And I'm certainly not among those to make the most educated guesses. So we're going to continue to abide by the directions of people much smarter than us. We're going to continue to take a patient and long range perspective on this to kind of see what's is the best way to serve our congregation and our community. So once again, we've decided that the best and wisest thing to do is to continue offering our services online for the time being. And I assure you, you will be the first to know when we've made the decision that it's the right time for us to start hosting our services on campus again. This decision is going to be across the board for all kinds of gatherings and meetings on our campus. We're going to continue to keep our facilities closed until there is a better time to open them up and use them once again as they were intended. So if you have questions about that, don't hesitate to call our church office. We'd be happy to field your questions for you. Again, I remind you that updates are found on our headquarters, which is CIBOLOCREEK.com. And there's lots of resources. We want to remind you that if you need to be prayed for, there's a place for that to happen on our website. There's places for you to request help or to offer help to other people. And I don't want you to miss that there's some wonderful facilities for leading your children in worship and continuing to invest in their spiritual journey during this time of quarantine. So again, thank you so much for your understanding. We'll look forward to further communication as we update. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.